You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, huge shout out to our sponsors. The Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is the Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma. And it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatoby for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my two golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. Adding to that is the Doghouse, and so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too, but I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC, and hopefully our pups will run into each other. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. We are up in the Edmond, River Oaks, Oakdale area today, right next to the golf course. Looks good on the way in here. If you're a golfer, you know exactly where we are. But it gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest today, Emily Dinwiddee from 11 Gables Instagram page. I'll link that below. You should go right to it right now as you're listening to the podcast, but not if you're driving. Wait until you do that. But it's in the description down below. Check it out. It's an awesome, awesome Instagram page. And there's much more that comes along with it. So we're going to dive into that today. Emily, thanks for inviting me into your house. It's coming up on, by the time this goes out, it'll probably be 4th of July weekend. So your house is fully decorated, ready to go. Yeah. This will be my first 4th of July as an American citizen. So I'm very excited.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Happy
very
to
excited.
have you here in America.
And so I had my citizenship was granted on the 25th of September. So I had my own Freedom Day. Which I'm going to celebrate every year now.
Yes.
But yeah, I've been here, love it. We connected on Instagram. I'm excited to dive into your story. Before we dive into everything you do on social media, though, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born and raised, and kind of what was it like growing up where you did?
Okay, I was born and raised here in Oklahoma City. I have 4 siblings. My parents, we grew up in Windsor Hills area, if you're familiar with Oklahoma City. It's over there on Ann Arbor. So yeah, I just grew up here. I went to several different schools growing up, because we went to a private school, then we went to a public school, Western Oaks Junior High, and then Putnam City West, and then I transferred over with all my church friends over to Putnam City North and graduated from North. And then I was kind of one of the lone people. I went off to school at Baylor University in Texas, and actually I got my nursing degree. So I'm a registered RN, but when I started having babies, I had them kind of close together. So I have 4 children with my husband, Greg, and 4 boys. And they all came within like 20 months of each other. So I stopped nursing, and we moved here, and I just kind of started decorating, and we were remodeling different areas of the house. And one of my friends who is a blogger was like, "Why don't you blog?" And so I was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." So I just kind of started blogging. And then Instagram came about, and I joined Instagram immediately, because that was kind of where you could share pictures and have like-minded friends that were all decorating together. So we would ask each other ideas, or feed off of each other. So that's kind of how I got my start over here. But,
growing up in Oklahoma City, one of 4, where are you on the pecking order?
I'm number 3.
You're number 3. Okay, so traits of middle child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I have an older sister that still lives here She lives in Edmond, and then an older brother who is currently moving from California back to Oklahoma City, and then a younger brother that lives in Rogers, Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah. So growing up, you mentioned going to a bunch of different schools. What
Yeah.
was like Emily's childhood dream? Did you always think you were going to be a nurse?
No, I wanted to be an architect.
Okay.
And then I remember my parents being like, you need to have a job when you graduate. So we really encourage you to go to the health field. And then my mom was diagnosed with cancer while I was in college. So I left Baylor for a little bit and kind of took care of her and was around a bunch of nurses. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll be a nurse. So I went back to Baylor and got my nursing degree.
What was the reason that kind of mom and dad said that you should go in the health field? Were they in that profession as well?
My dad's a dentist.
Okay.
Yeah, and they just saw that it was, the 90s and jobs were, I don't know. I don't remember like specifically what was going on in the world, but there was a nursing shortage, so
Yeah.
they just really encouraged me to go health field.
So before you were kind of thinking going to Baylor, how long was the architect dream alive was it up until your mom got diagnosed?
Oh, no. I mean, I was little. I was always
Okay.
drawing floor plans and house plans, and I would take my blocks with my little Fisher-Price people and build out floor plans. I don't know when I stopped wanting to be an architect, but
Yeah. I mean, with everything you do with 11 Gables,
Yeah.
and like you're ticking that box, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
in some way, right? And moving your furniture around or
Right,
whatever it is,
right.
which is kind of really cool to kind of resurface.
kind of have that spatial gift. My mom used to keep me home from school. We would have a mommy-daughter day.
Yeah.
She'd say, she has an appointment today. So we'd stay home and we would move furniture. We would literally, I can remember being like 10 or 11 and putting washcloths underneath the sofa and scooting it around with my mom. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she do that with all the kids?
no,
No?
just me. Because I had that eye where I knew where things went.
Okay. Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah. So grow up drawing a lot. You're having these experiences with mum, taking you out of school and just not going and doing these awesome things. And, the things you look back at now and you're like, cherish those moments. At the time, sometimes maybe it's exciting, maybe it's not. You're just like, I'm moving stuff around. But, it's core memories, right?
Yeah,
And you
of
look back
course.
and, it's so like, if you told a parent now, hey, just take your kid out of school one day a week, they'd be like, what? Like, why
Oh
would
no,
you do
I
that?
totally encourage young moms,
Yeah.
especially before 9th grade, because it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
I mean, it counts, but I'm like, they want to be home with mom. Have a mom day. Go. I totally encourage parents. Heck, I even took one of my sons out, my third, who is very much like me, third child. I took him out for a year and a half and homeschooled him.
Oh, wow.
And we had an antique booth in Edmond, and that was kind of our math class. We kept the books, and he helped me price stuff. We would buy for it and do all of the pricing. And
Yeah.
so that was just spend time with your kids,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, that's when you ask about, did I always want to be an architect? After, dabbling in that, I would say I really want to be a wife and a mom and just have a family, and now I'm living the dream.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and obviously your mom had 4 kids. You have 4
Yep.
kids. Like, that's when that's exactly what you want and you live for that. It's a blessing every day,
Yeah,
right?
for
and you have
sure,
4
for
boys,
sure.
and every day is, I'm sure, different.
4 boys is so fun. I always thought, I would want 5 boys, but I kind of have 5 boys now with the husband. He's on the bench, but it's my own little sports team. So
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I have a younger brother. There's only 2 of us, and there's 5 years between us. So
Okay.
all the things that I thought were cool were not cool by the time he got to my age.
Oh,
and then
man.
I was kind of a little too older to him to like hang out when it was
Yeah.
like I'm 10, he's 5. Like it just kind of didn't work. But now I'd say once I moved out here, we have a much better relationship than we did because
is he here too?
No, he's
Okay.
back home.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's Yeah, he'll be 30 in December.
Okay.
He's already going bald, which is great. And I'm not, thankfully. But so high school was great, and then you lead into Baylor. What was the reason to go to Baylor? Do you have family connections to Baylor?
I always wanted to go to Baylor.
Okay.
One of my girlfriend's brothers went to Baylor.
Yeah.
And I just really thought that was the coolest. So.
And you grew up in a very Christian background, Christian
Yes,
household, so that
absolutely,
obviously
yeah.
ticked that box for your parents. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they would be considered a Christian school back then
Yeah.
or today, but it was definitely
Yeah.
more toward that. I just always love following the Lord and letting Him lead my life. And I felt like when I had some options, I just felt like that was where God kept leading me
Yeah.
to Baylor. So.
to that point, when did that kind of really become a real focus in your life, that you were old enough to be aware of it and committed to a relationship with the Lord? And like, do you remember that distinctly?
Oh, I think my whole life.
Okay.
I remember specifically when I asked Christ to lead my life, and I just always wanted a relationship with Him. So I surrounded myself with friends that were also walking with the Lord, and went to church and joined a youth group, and that was just my social. You know, I was listening to the service last Sunday at Life Church, and they were talking it was a guest speaker. I can't remember his name, but he was talking about like somebody who was dating a girl, or a girl who had been dating, and she was like, why am I always dating the wrong guy? And he's like, what are you listening to? What movies are you watching? What shows are you watching? Those are the kind of people that you kind of pull yourself into. So, you know, if you want to walk with the wise, you walk with the wise. You go that way. And it's hard to go against the flow. And I've even found that in social media. I've gotten a lot of backlash. I used to be a Better Homes and Gardens style maker, but because I didn't conform to what they thought I should be standing up for or doing, I was pretty dropped. They just had nothing to do with me anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I just go my own way.
But you also know when you're centered in knowing that this is your truth, and you're
Right.
that right. Like,
Right.
you know, it's annoying, might be a bit heartbreaking, disappointing at times,
Yeah.
but you're the one that's got to sleep at night, right?
Well, right. And then the long run, it's all about eternity, you know? That's
Yeah.
what we're here for. This is eternity. Once you are following the Lord, then that is your eternity starting. So what are you doing
Yeah.
to further the kingdom?
Yeah.
So
And so when you were at Baylor, how old, what year were you in when Mum got diagnosed and you decided to
okay, so
come
it was
home?
my freshman year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so really soon
Yeah.
then. Yeah. And obviously your faith plays a huge part in kind of reassuring you that it's a testing time, right?
Oh,
We're all going
sure.
to be tested
Oh,
in
sure.
something, but you decide to move home to take care of Mum. What was
And
the
it was
decision
breast
then?
cancer. So
Okay.
breast cancer was kind of a newer, it wasn't as like it is today where you're doing testing and all of that. So hers had already progressed quite a bit. So I don't know. What was the question?
What leads to you like feeling that you really had to come home, and obviously you're one of four, and so
Yeah.
you know, did everybody come home at the same time and kind of?
No, my sister was, I think she was a nurse. So she's also a nurse. She lived in Oklahoma City. Where was my brother? I don't even know. I can't remember. It was 1994. So my little brother was obviously home, and he needed to be watched, and I just needed to come home. So I
Yeah.
came home for a year, and then I went back.
Yeah. How was that year? I mean, how do you draw
I mean, it
from
was
that
hard.
experience? Yeah, how do you draw from that experience?
When your mom's going through chemotherapy,
Right.
you shaving her head, and
Yeah.
you know, it was a hard year. So
And you know, to have to. My mum's a nurse as well,
Okay.
so I kind of, and we've talked about this. And my granddad passed. She did the same thing. Took a year off. My granddad, my nan, her mum and dad, my nan and granddad passed with almost a year to the day within each other, and so she took a year off and did the same thing. And the conversations I've had with her, and you know, it's not the situation you want to be put in as
Right.
a daughter, right?
Right.
But those moments that you get, you know, you wouldn't want anyone else doing it. As hard as it is, you
Right.
get to cherish those
Right.
moments and have those final moments with your
Right.
parents and get to see them in a way that you've never seen them before.
Well, my
And
mom's alive and
Yeah.
doing well, so
That's amazing.
it was just
Yeah.
a little blip in time.
And the lessons you learn from mom and the parent that you are now.
Oh,
right?
sure.
There's so many. So.
Yeah.
So that during that moment, then that's a kind of a defining moment where you decide to come back to school and really go into nursing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, did you have any direction before you came home to help your mom in college? Did you think going in that you were going to do?
I was going to do pre-dental.
Was you going to go follow dad in pre-dental? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a disaster. Your first semester of school and you're in all these pre-dental classes and I was not ready for school. I should have taken all my fluff classes, and I've told my boys that. Take all your fun classes like theater appreciation and intramural sports. Do all that. Get that out of your system. And then once you figure out like college, then so that didn't work out for me, but I'm thankful for that.
You went straight in like, I'm going to take everything I need, And
Yeah, that's a long story. But the advisor that I got was not a pre-dental advisor. He was like a business advisor. He was like, well, it shows me that you're supposed to take these classes. So he just signed me up and I was like, okay. That was...
Not knowing what you were getting yourself into.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. How did Dad take the news that you weren't going to follow the dental
Oh, he was
profession?
fine.
Okay.
He actually called me and he was like, why don't you come back and go to Rose State and I'll get you a brand new car and you can go be a dental hygienist. And I did not want to do dental hygienist.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, I just didn't want to deal with the mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my dentist. I love all of that, but that wasn't my path. Took me a little bit to find my path. And I encouraged my son. Like, my second son went to OSU for a year, and he's like, I don't know what I want to do. I just want to come home and, like, work and kind of figure it out. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Come home. He lives with his brother, and he's figuring it out. So
There's loads of time.
loads.
Right.
Like, don't go straight to college if you don't know what you're going to do.
No, I totally agree.
Or if you even need to go to college.
Yeah, now today's world, you really don't
Yeah.
need to, right?
Unless you
With
have a
all
golf
technology.
scholarship or
That
something.
too. Yeah, I thankfully didn't pay for college, which was great
That's
because of
so
the golf
nice.
scholarship. I was really fortunate to have
Yeah.
that. And yeah, if you're an athlete and you have the ability to get a scholarship and
Yeah.
travel a little bit,
Yeah.
and get school paid for, why not? But again, like you said, you don't have to. I mean, there's
Right.
kids out there, the 16, 17-year-old running their own businesses from their phones
Exactly.
and like making a lot more money than most people working the 9 to 5.
And that's my third son that's going to Liberty in the
Yeah.
fall. He does Facebook Marketplace, so he buys and sells, and he'll like flip stuff constantly.
Yeah.
So he's already got a nice little, I don't know what you call it, nest egg
Yeah,
saved
nest
up.
egg, yeah.
But he wants to go do finance, so he's going to go learn finance. And when we talked about like where are you going to go for school, he's had offers for kicking at smaller D2 schools, and he's just was like, that they don't have the major I want, and it's not about kicking, although he loves it and he's very gifted in it. He wants to go. He's like, I have to look at long term. Like, what am I going to do long term? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be hard too as a mum to be like, look, you're good at kicking. Like, you can go do a finance degree whenever you want. Like, you only get your years at college.
Well, I wanted him to go kick.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would too.
I really did, because
Yeah.
he is so gifted, and he had some really great offers. But I love watching him, play football. So.
Yeah, and the kicker, like, it's everything everything's on you at that point,
I
right? Like,
know.
everybody is pretty much, as long as
Yeah.
the snap's good, like,
Yeah.
it's you, but also no one really knows if the place, unless it's on TV, no one really knows if they're holding it right.
Right.
From the stands, like, they just, it missed. It must be the kicker's fault.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he's dealt with that, but
Oh, yeah.
clearly it's a passion, and coaching's great too, and he gets to pass that off.
Yeah.
But so going to nursing, have that moment when you come back to Baylor. Was it hard for you to make a decision to go back to Baylor versus like you could have gone local?
Oh no.
So
there
was
was
you
no
ready?
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going back. Yeah.
Okay. I was down in Fort Worth last weekend, and so Dallas, Fort Worth area is
Right.
fun. I'm sure it's.
I
different
did
now.
my 2 years down. You have to go with Baylor, their nursing school is crazy. You do 2 years on campus in Waco, and then you go to Dallas and do 2 years. So I'd already finished my 2 years, or I guess I did go back and finish another year down on Waco campus. But then I went to Dallas. So it was just, I loved living in Dallas for a short time.
Yeah.
I don't think I could live there full time.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy at the moment.
It's
They have traffic. We don't have traffic.
I love hearing people complain about our Oklahoma 5 o'clock traffic. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, for 30 minutes you can deal with it.
Not even 30.
Right.
I mean, even where we live here, it takes 25 minutes maybe to get to the airport. And on a bad day, it might take 30.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the life. I love it so much.
I love being here.
Yeah.
What was it? Was there anything specific during your nursing college practice that, for my mum works predominantly with the elderly, and so she's kind of on that side. What about you? Was there anything that popped up? Or like,
I totally wanted to do labor and delivery.
Oh, really?
Totally. But that's a story in itself. I went to go interview.
Yeah.
It was called University, but it's now OU, and they told me I would have to take part in elective terminations, which, as we know, is abortion. And I just stood up and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. Yeah. So I stood up and walked out of that interview and went over to Mercy, where it's, a Catholic hospital. They don't even, no contraception. And their waiting list to get into labor and delivery was like years long. So I just went into ICU and did ICU, and then I went over to recovery and did pre-op and post-op recovery.
Yeah.
So.
Any, not highlights, because it is what it is, right? But, I mean, ICU, there's great good days and bad days.
Oh, yeah. ICU was very stressful.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot that I still have to this day. I loved ICU. But then switching over to recovery, like, you don't have a call light.
Thanks, Rosie.
You're like, bye. So you get them in, you get them medicated, you get them comfortable, and you get them out.
Yeah.
That was
the happy
best.
side of walking them out the door.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly where they want to be.
Right.
I assume that's where you met your husband?
No.
No? Really?
That's a good question.
With post-op stuff,
we met at church. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We met
Okay.
at church. Yeah.
So he's local too and
He
grew up
is.
here?
He grew up in Del City.
Okay.
So, yeah, we met at church and just started hanging out and figured out the surgeon he worked for, he's a cardiothoracic PA. So the surgeon that he worked for was actually my favorite surgeon. So we just kind of started talking, and then we went to a couple conferences together, Tommy Nelson. I don't know if you've ever heard of Tommy Nelson. He came up here and did a conference. We went to that together, and then became good friends. And
do you remember that moment you saw him and you thought, hang on a second,
I thought he was a total nerd. No. He had on high waters. He had on high school clothes. And, he didn't know how to buy clothes or... I did end up going through his closet later and being like, you need some new clothes. Yeah, I totally remember when I saw him.
I have no idea what high waters are.
High waters are, pants. Well, now they're in style, but they were pants that were just too short. Yeah.
Back home in the UK, we call them ankle bashers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. High waters.
Yeah, it was bad. He was dressed really bad, but he was cute. He had on glasses. He was cute.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love that.
Total nerd.
He's gonna be laughing about that, I'm sure. Yeah. It would be wrong of me to say to Greg, hey, you can come on the podcast to have your side of the story too.
Yeah.
You're welcome to that. That would be unfair if I didn't give you the opportunity to do that. We can add that in.
Okay.
So at this point, you guys meet. How long till you guys get married and start your life together and start, building a family together?
We met and then dated for 2 years, or we were engaged for 6 months. of those 2 years. So,
Yeah. And then your oldest came how long after that?
15 months later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
then, like you said,
I mean, we were like 26 and he was 28. So it was like,
yeah. Was
is-
there pressure from like were you not pressure from him, but was there pressure mentally for you? Was like, oh, it's I got it, my body's ticking, 30 is the
Oh,
magic
not
number
at
and all
all.
that.
We
'Cause
were
that's
not planning it at all.
A lot of people have that. Right?
Yeah, no, we weren't planning it at all. But it was just like, we're poor. We are paying off his school, cars, all that stuff. We can't go on vacation. We can't travel. We might as well have a baby. I mean, that's pretty much.
Why not?
Yeah.
And now you're great. Now everything's good.
And then he was 12 months old, and I got pregnant with our second, and then that one was 12 months old and got pregnant. So then, we
Yeah.
figured out how to pause
Four
for a little
boys.
bit. There's 3 years in between the third and fourth.
Okay. So you got 4 boys, you have a female dog.
A female dog and a dozen chickens that are all females.
When did the chickens happen?
Oh, a long time ago.
Okay.
I've had chickens for like 11 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't dove into that yet. I eat eggs every day. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Big believer in.
I'll give you some
well.
eggs.
Thank you. That would be awesome. How has that been having chickens?
Some people are like, oh, it's so hard. Don't get attached. I would say don't name them. Don't get attached and treat them like animals that they are. They're kind of scavengers. They're a lot like pigs in that they eat everything. So you can throw a chicken carcass out there. Like, if you go get a whole chicken from the store. We don't eat the chickens. We only eat the eggs. But I'll give them, and they will completely demolish it. They are interesting animals.
What led to that decision to get chickens?
I just thought they were cute. So I got silkies, which you don't want to start with silkies because their eggs are literally that big. And once they started having eggs, I was like, this is a lot of work for little eggs. So then we kind of just graduated to just chickens. Yeah.
What were the boys like with the chickens?
Oh, they were always great.
Yeah. That's awesome. I did not expect you to say you had 11 chickens. That's great.
Yeah.
So you said you're poor. You're having the boys are coming.
Yeah.
You have 4 boys. Was there a conversation like I just want a daughter, or we just like?
Oh yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
We charted it out. Because I mean, I don't need to go into detail on that, but there's supposed to be a way to get a girl. Like the food you eat, how acidic your body is. It's just, we did it all. And the 4th one, the girl literally put the ultrasound on me, and she put it right in the spot where it was just his little privates right there. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's another boy. But now I would not trade it for the world. I love being a boy mom. I love having 4 boys. They're all super fun. My family never into athletics. Like I didn't know what football was. I did not understand basketball, soccer, baseball. My boys have done it all. So I've been like cheering on the sidelines.
Yeah. What are the, when you have 4 kind of back to back like that, you really don't have much time for yourself. But when you do have time for yourself during their early childhood, what are your hobbies? What are the things that like really, when you had 30 minutes to yourself, other than wanting to take a nap, what were your like, what was the me time? What was the activities that kind of kept you sane sometimes as a mom that like you really gravitated towards?
When they were little, I sewed a lot.
Okay.
Like curtains, and I've made all of our curtains in our house, and this little tablecloth. I just like to sew. I did my blogging, and then when they got a little bit older, I started painting. I've always kind of had that. I painted a lot in high school, and then I hadn't touched it, and I was like, maybe I'll paint. So I started painting. And
with that and the activities and the creativity side of you, I'm not surprised that you have success on social media and with your blog, with everything you've mentioned. You have the architect side of things, so you can visualize the room, which that is a skill, a designer skill that I struggle to have. Like, that's why being a real estate agent, I'm like, find a designer you trust that can paint the vision for you. You know, and the childhood that you had moving furniture around and seeing that, it all kind of makes sense now, right? And you know, you have this blog and you're already writing and you know, starting this as a means to just take your time away, you know, and enjoy it and get you out of your mum headspace and just relax for a little bit. And painting obviously is extremely therapeutic and keeps the brain activity going.
And gardening, we do a lot of gardening.
Do you grow vegetables?
My husband does the vegetable. I do the flowers. So if you pulled up and saw all the hydrangeas. Yeah.
Very creative. There's always something going on.
Yeah, totally.
When does it then sort of hockey stick to where, like, you have, you know, you mentioned Instagram coming out and you're doing that and you have, you know, 70,000 followers and a really good following. When does it become a point where you're like, I can do this full time? The boys are old enough to kind of take themselves, they're off to school, I need something to do, I'm already doing this, maybe I'll just put more time into this. But you were, sounds like you were already doing it, you just hadn't documented it to the extent that you're documenting it now. What was that shift?
You know, I would say I love being an entrepreneur. I love to make money off of whatever I'm doing. So to find out that I went to a blog conference in 2014 and they were like, did you know that you could like link, this was like 2014, years ago, you could link to your Amazon account and get a commission. And I was like, So I figured out how to do that and opened up an Amazon storefront, and then Like to Know It came about, and that's even easier than Amazon because it is a third party, but it's just so easy to use that I try to link as much as I can, but not overlink, because I have a lot of ladies that follow me that are, I would say, in the 50 to 65 age range. And they don't want to be inundated with links all the time. And they tell me that. But, you know, if I find a great book, I'm going to link to it. But then I like to tell them, like, a propagation tip. Like, I took this cutting of my boxwood and stripped off the leaves and stuck it in the ground. And look, I got a whole boxwood plant. So,
do you have, when you started doing this, was there a point where it went from, oh, this is just a hobby to keep me busy, to like the entrepreneur side in you was like, no, I'm going to structure and have a business plan. And
I really should do that.
But I say business plan in a way of just more intent there.
Yeah, I should do that. I should do that. I did like, I like to, I mean, this is not answering your question completely, but I like to learn something new every year. So like when COVID came, I was like, there's nothing to do. I'm going to learn how to needlepoint. So I ordered a kit and I taught myself how to needlepoint. And then the next year I was like, you know, I could do that. I could paint that, because those, like a little ornament is $70 and it's hand painted. Big thing on needlepoint is a couple $100. I could do that. So I taught myself how to paint needlepoint. So I do have a needlepoint line now with another gal, and I get royalties on my little things that I painted and sent off to her. That's to go for, be like business. I don't have that business mind. So it's hard as someone that's more of a creative to say, hey, let me take this into a business, when I don't have that mind. I would rather be a creative and create and let somebody else do the other.
Yeah, versus some business mind coming in and thinking, how can we scale this? How can we speed this up? How can you increase production? You're like,
no idea.
I just want to enjoy it.
I just want to do it. Like, let me create it and you figure out the rest.
Was there a point that brands started reaching out and started wanting to work with you and send you affiliate links? And I mean, because there's a few moments, and I've kind of experienced it too with mine. You know, you get an email from someone, and the one thing I've always learned recently, that someone is always watching. Right. And so someone is always following something, and if the right opportunity pops up, they see you for it. They've kind of got you in the back of their mind for something, maybe, but you never know, because they never reach out until they're ready. And so, you'll get these emails or these messages and you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this was person, and then they tell you, yeah, I've just kind of been tracking you or following you for a couple of years and watching your thing and your content, and you're like, it reminded me to just kind of stay on top of my game, right, and just keep moving forward, and the snowball effect, it will work with followers and blogs, and because sometimes we think that no one's watching or no one's reading.
Oh, absolutely. I was totally, last year, I kind of just went, I was like, is anyone watching? Is anyone noticing? What am I doing this for? And yes, it's for his kingdom. But then, your world, human self starts to doubt. So then I had this lady from Frontgate. I don't know if you're familiar with Frontgate. It's a catalog company. Reach out. And they have a storefront in Dallas and one in Atlanta, I believe. But they're starting little new storefronts. And she reached out and she said, hey, I've been following you for a couple of years, and I think you'd be a perfect fit for our Christmas gathering that we're doing at the store. Would you want to come down and do a presentation? And I was like, what? Yeah. So they sent me, Frontgate's like a high-end catalog company. So they sent me all this Christmas stuff, and I decorated my whole front porch with all this gorgeous Frontgate stuff. And then I drove down to Dallas, and they put me in a hotel room, and I came, and they had cookies made that looked just like my house, and they had this whole thing, and 100 people showed up to hear me talk about decorating for Christmas. That was like, wow. That felt awesome, because you think, you don't fit this certain mold that most people want for an influencer. And then to be noticed and recognized in that way was great.
It's being seen, being valued, and it's different in person, right? Like, it's great when someone sends you a message or you have so many followers, but it puts it into context. You have 70,000 followers on Instagram, but like I said, you put 100 of those people in the room, you can see them face to face, and like they truly believe and they buy into what you do and want to meet you, and then the one-on-one conversations you have after you've done your speech, right? You've done your talk, the connecting of, I did this and I liked this, and you see people's passion for it. And I'm sure you saw it when you went to that conference for the first time in 2014. And I'm sure it was probably a bit like weird to tell people, hey, I'm going to a bloggers conference, right? And that wasn't that long ago, you know, but it's still at the time, it was like, I do this blog and I, on a computer, and I don't really connect face to face with my readers. Right. But when you go to it and you meet people and you get all these ideas and you see all these, fancy things in the booth, and you realize there's a whole other world out there.
The one thing I've noticed about bloggers is that they're so introverted. Yeah. They hate mingling. They don't come up to you and talk because they're used to talking to a screen. Yeah. So that was a whole side I didn't expect. I would say I'm introverted, extroverted, so I am not gonna like go out of my way to like come up to you unless I'm,
Yeah, there's a commonality there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This, I'm like that too. Everyone thinks, you have an accent, you must talk to everybody, and I do, but I'm the same way. I can't just go up cold, right, and just be like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'll find a commonality somewhere, yeah. But it's still, I think it's, and also I think I was probably one of the last generations who like actually had conversations as kids, like I didn't get an iPhone until college, right? And so, I was born in 90, so I'm 34. Okay. So I remember the internet making a noise, like that, like VHS and all the CDs and all the things, and MTV. So good.
Those were the good old days.
Right? People watching music videos on TV was awesome. But, that engagement, that face-to-face engagement, that, looking at someone through their eyes and having a conversation with them, and that context of conversation and reading cues, like, that's lost, and that's also lost through blogs too, right? But when you meet people and you find something, it's like, I think everyone should have something that they, gravitate to in a hobby, and you found a great way to make money out of it, but you don't have to make money out of it because it serves you, personally, even if you didn't make money out of it. There's just other people out there that want to buy the things that you put out because you're good at it. What's it been like, from a real estate perspective, what's it been like for you, decorating the house, moving things around, you know, showing, because you know your house is beautiful, but also at the same time it becomes work then, right? And so there might be some days or some weeks you're like, oh, I gotta post content, maybe I gotta move stuff around the house, and you're like, I got the boys, and how have you managed that? Because it's not staged, you live here,
right?
You know, you've got all those things, so because I'm sure that can be a mum of four, and you know, Greg wants to come home, watch TV, watch the football, and the boys.
Yeah,
and like,
I'm
I
not
gotta
good
shoot
about
something.
I'm not good about like thinking content.
Yeah,
that's the business part of it. I just post whenever I feel like it. So, like even this room, I probably still need to make a reel about it because we did a whole remodel in here. This was my boys' playroom, and it had a huge wet bar in here, and it was filthy, dirty carpet, and it was dark, and it was really scary. I did not come up here. But I filmed all this content, and it's still on my phone. I've never put together a reel. So that's the downside of being a busy mom of 4 kids. So sometimes I'll like take a picture of what I'm working on, or the flowers, or I feel like I want to teach more to my followers than necessarily say, hey, buy this. I want them to find value in what I'm telling them. So I shared a reel yesterday about what happens when your topiary is crispy. What do you do to it? So, I mean, that's... Yeah.
Where do you get the education side of things from you? What
trial and error. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess having the whereabouts to document that moment and be authentic is probably something that your followers really relate to.
Yeah.
Versus coming in and being like, I've mastered this, it's perfect, you know, this is how you do it. Whereas you're coming in like, I'm learning this.
Yeah.
You're learning it with me.
Right.
You know, and taking people along
And I
that
think
journey.
they appreciate that. And sometimes I post like all their laundry, and they appreciate that. I'm like, hey, this is what my house really looks like. Like, we live here. So.
What about you mentioned using your phone? Is there, because a lot of people, I think, who want, you might have friends, mums, that see what you do and think, I'd love to do that, but then they get kind of lost on, I need a good camera, I need great lighting. They get kind of focused on the stuff that doesn't. Is it purely iPhone? Are you just like, what is your process?
Oh yeah, I just use my iPhone.
Yeah.
And I would tell that mom, I'd say, just start. Just don't wait until it's perfect. Just start.
What's your favorite thing about it, about all this?
Connecting with people. I've met some of my best friends on Instagram that live in the city. I would say even my best friend, another Instagram follower was like, do you know this person? Her name's Stacy. And I don't know her. And she said, literally, you two need to meet. We're going to lunch. So we met. We started following each other on Instagram first, and then we met, and we talk every single day. So like when moms are on their phone just sitting talking to their phone to their followers, I'm usually talking to my friend, and then we'll be like, oh yeah, I need to share that on Instagram. Or she'll say, you need to link this. This is the best product ever. So
yeah,
that's
real community.
I love that about Instagram, just meeting people and getting to know them. And I have people that are like, I feel like I know you because I'm in your home, and some of that can be a little bit scary and personal, like too much. But overall, it's been great.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've definitely heard that before. You know, where people are, because you're so personable to the phone, the following, they they feel like you're talking directly to them. They get that feeling that they really know you, and they might, but at the same time, you've never met this person before, right? And that person comes up to you, and they have that context of like, oh my gosh, I know so much about you, and you're like, I have no idea who you are, even and that's the scary side of it, right?
Or
and
my boys, they've gone up to my boys.
Oh, and said, I watch your mom's content,
and they're like, oh my gosh, you're a Christian. Or my son told me, he was like, Mom, that freaked me out.
How was that?
It was a little, Because
would you put the boys on on the page?
I
or
used
just,
to a lot more.
Yeah.
And he was like, you got it, no more. So I'm like, okay, if you don't want to be on there, you don't have to be on there. I mean, but then I have my ladies that are like, I miss seeing your boys.
How are your boys doing?
Or I'll post a family picture of us, but I don't post a lot of us doing stuff together because they would have people approach them and they're not comfortable with that. But I'm all for it. I'm like, hey, say hi to me if you see me in town because I want to give you a hug. Mm-hmm. I love meeting people and that's...
What's been the main joy for you other than meeting people as far as like, is it the furniture, moving stuff around the house, designing things? Is it the planting? Is it, the chickens outside? What is it like? All of it.
I mean, that's hard to pick.
It is. That's why I asked it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love to paint. I love to share painting. I just had one of my followers commission a couple of paintings from me, so I did that for her. I love to share my flowers. I love to share my tips in the garden that I've learned personally, like that I've tried and learned. I love to share chicken content. I don't know. I love it all. I like sharing baking, but usually, so like when people want to see somebody cooking something, I never get ready unless I am seeing somebody. I'm like, I'd have to get up, get my hair done, put some makeup on. Where I'm usually like in my grubbies, getting my hands dirty, and that's the hardest part is filming it. Like setting up a tripod and filming yourself doing something. It's awkward.
I was thinking of that, like you were mentioning, and you live in a beautiful neighborhood, and you obviously got tight-knit neighborhood, and I'm just thinking of the neighborhood chat, like.
Oh, I know.
Emily's outside with a tripod again.
I've been out there in my nightgown and robe, like filming. If it's like beautiful, like even snowing, I'll run out there, put on a coat and like film the snow, and people are like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? They know. Everybody knows. Oh, it's what I do.
I think that's one of the reels I must have seen was the snow one. Because it's beautiful out there.
Oh, there's a pretty one, but you have to catch it just right if your house is decorated.
That too. That must. I mean, because you love it. Like, there's people listening that would think. I mean, they get irritated because they have to decorate their house for Halloween or Christmas, right?
Yeah.
But yours is constantly something.
Yeah.
And so, but the calendar's always full with something, right? So it's not like you have to think of. I mean, there's themes kind of pre-planned. Is there anything outside of the norm that you would do versus the usual, like obviously 4th of July and all the other plans?
Well, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm the one that put Valentine's Day on the map for decorating. Because I love Valentine's Day. We
Why
just
Valentine's
have a little.
Day specifically?
Because it's no pressure. I feel like Christmas. I love the meaning of Christmas, but I feel like Christmas is a lot of pressure.
So Valentine's Day as a mum and a female feels like a lot less pressure.
It's to show people that you love them. Yeah. It doesn't have to be, boy, girl, Valentine, lovey. It's when I always make a spaghetti dinner because my mom did that for us and my sister does that for her family. And I don't know about my brothers, but I make a spaghetti dinner for my boys and have it all like romantic and pretty and pink. And I did a big Valentine's Day spread. I made all these Valentine banners, and that's just, I don't know.
Yeah. What's it like having 4 boys and Valentine's Day?
It's precious.
Yeah.
I mean, really, they like to. I even said, let's not do Valentine's Day this year. I don't know why, because, we had just got back from the inauguration, but I was like, I just don't have it in me. And my boys were like, no. We're having Valentine's Day, and you're making spaghetti, and that is what we're doing. So
that must be cool to hear as a mum.
Oh, for sure.
4 boys be like, no, this is tradition.
For sure.
Family tradition now, and something that you hope that they'll pass on.
Yeah.
When it's Valentine's Day, they're making spaghetti. And
oh, for sure.
Why spaghetti? Why did mum choose to make spaghetti?
I don't know.
You don't know that?
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's red.
Maybe,
I don't know. Yeah. It's...
What's
Yeah.
the, do we have a special family spaghetti recipe?
Oh yeah, and people ask me for it, and I'm like,
You're not sure of it?
I don't have a recipe. I literally, it has to be Italian sausage. I don't do hamburger meat. And my husband made spaghetti one time, and I was like, oh, use hamburger meat.
Who's the better cook? How do you and your husband?
Oh, he's pretty good.
Okay.
We both like to cook.
Do the boys share that passion?
Well, yeah. So since my two boys live together, my two older boys, they meal prep. All my boys meal prep. So they've learned to cook. For Father's Day, my oldest son smoked a brisket for my husband. And for Mother's Day, he made me carne asada. I mean, I was like, what?
Like, you're grown up now. Stop growing up.
No, I love
Yeah.
it. I love having adult children.
That's awesome.
It's those teenage years, they are precious, but they were so hard. Especially now with like boys in today's world and the pressures. Those teenage years were really, really difficult.
Yeah, I'm glad I grew up when I did. Right? Glad I went through my, 12 to 17, 18-year-old range when I did, because you're right. I can't imagine trying to raise kids. I mean, obviously your youngest is 15, so you kind of still have one around that. And yeah, I mean, also going through COVID too, right? Like, having to deal with that mentally. And, and,
that was
that's
the
awful.
worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be tough to deal with
And
that.
I would say it affected my second son more. He graduated in 23, so he was like right in the middle of all that. And he is more antisocial.
Yeah. More reserved.
Yeah. Reserved, quiet, doesn't want to be around a lot of people. Because, he was masked at school and they didn't allow congregating. It was a difficult time for those kids.
How was that during the content time as well? I mean, you obviously, because that must have been different
that
too,
was
right?
controversial because some of the people I was following were taking money to do advertisements for the jab, and that was like I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was coming from it from a healthcare perspective on healthy people. It's just a whole. It was very political.
Yeah.
And I think that really, I've lost 5,000 followers from 2024, November 2024 until January 2024. I lost 5,000 followers just because I was like, I'm not going to play into this anymore. So.
Well, and when you have new people coming in, or sometimes you just see someone posting stuff on Instagram, you don't have the context, you haven't been following them for a long time, and you see them and they don't know that you come from a medical background, they don't know that your husband's in the profession, or your dad was a dentist, like they don't have the context, right? But they just come in and hate, because it's easy to thumb a comment, and send it off and not realize the implications of it.
Yeah.
And then that's going around, and you're like, the world is not full of bad people,
right?
But it makes it a lot easier for the ones on social media to amplify that, especially when you tie in politics and all the other things, and it just fuels it, and you're just like, can I just turn my phone off?
Like, have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
I'm one of the nicest people ever. Don't judge me because of you think you have a preconceived idea about me.
That's the dark side of social media, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
How has that been as a mum as well? Because, sometimes there's parents out there who don't have 70,000 followers, who don't have a blog, who aren't as active as you are on social media, so they don't have the context of, the good and the bad that's happening. Did that help you as a mum with your boys on social media?
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind
of force you to have a conversation with them?
That I'm always watching. That.
Well, that too, but you're also getting hate too.
But I also, that part of it. What part of it specifically do you?
It's in general, right? Because obviously they've grown up with it. It's a huge part of their lives. All their friends are on it. They're sending each other things every day. We're all doing it. But from a parent perspective of just being open, just to say, look, like, I deal with this as well.
Yeah.
If you're ever dealing with something, come to me about it. The mental health side of things, I guess, would be the main focus as a parent.
I don't think they really, they're not huge into social media. because I have been.
Because you're out there with your tripod.
Yeah. I mean, so they're coming at it from like, you're addicted to social media.
Yeah.
Well, they see me on my phone and I'm typically answering questions and that, I would say that was more difficult than them actually being on social media. We just let our 15-year-old get Instagram, and the only problem I see with him is this Reels. So, from my perspective, I know how you can get sucked into that. And so I'm like, okay, we're going to put time limits on this. And he turns his phone in every night. That's one thing that we've said to our boys is nothing good really happens after a certain time. So like 10 o'clock, let's just turn your phones in.
Yeah.
You don't need it. It's no good. So they go in our room, plugged in, and we keep tabs on them that way.
It's so true. Everything is, it just keeps you up at night and sleep deprives you.
Yeah, right.
And you're cranky the next
day.
day.
Right.
And that just keeps the cycle going. Right. And it's amazing when you do see it from the outside, and you see there was a photographer who had this, I can't remember which city it was in, but he did a photography, a book or a show, whatever it was, and he took people, in the city just on their phones, and then he edited out every phone. Did you see this? No. And they were all like, it's really, really kind of strange to see it. Like everyone looks like they're just possessed and looking at their hand, right?
Yes.
But there's no phone there, and you see the picture of you on your phone, and you're just like, It really opened my eye to it, because I'm on it all the time, and I'm guilty of it too, and spend way too much time laying in bed thumbing up and down reels or whatever. And Instagram's very good at sending you, or TikTok's good at sending you funny content, right? Whether it's house stuff, dog stuff, cat stuff, like golf stuff. It knows what it's doing, but it's that side of you that's like, what's my potential if I didn't have this in my life.
Yeah.
To the extent that it is. Obviously, I think it's great that we have it. Technology's awesome, and we're making money from doing it. But like you said, by time limiting it, that.
Yeah. So I have the 2-hour limit on my phone, and I try not to hit that during the day. So if I post something and it's getting a lot of traction, sometimes I have to ignore the limit. Yeah. But I try to stick with that and just turn it off. And it's really sad if I meet it in the morning. Because I've been sitting on my phone answering DMs or
orders or whatever it is, yeah.
And I try to answer every single DM, and that becomes difficult if I do post something that a lot of people have thoughts about. So I used to have a controversial day where I would, and I called it Weed Out Wednesday, where I would just post something controversial, and people would, I feel like I know you, so I can tell you this. I'm like, okay, you don't know me, but whatever. So the thing I did like about that is that I got more people that were like-minded, that we could actually have conversation, and that they would appreciate the content that I'm putting out there. So I might keep up Weed Out Wednesday.
That's a great idea, because you get the followers that are more bought into you.
Right.
You get true followers, right?
Right.
Versus just like having, like those 5,000 people that left you. Well,
I was here for the garden content.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
Look at my profile.
Read the caption.
I'm the Jane of all trades. I can do everything but sing. Don't make me sing. Do you remember that Saturday Night Live skit?
I haven't
dating myself.
Who was that? Who did that one?
Kristen Wiig. She'd go, don't make me sing. She's my favorite. Yeah.
She is awesome.
But you were not the Saturday Night Live of the 80s.
No.
That was, my whole family watched it. And we come from a very conservative Christian background. And my whole family would watch Saturday Night Live because it was hilarious. So the church lady and I love Dana Carvey. Still, you don't know who that is, do you?
I think one second. You know,
Oh gosh, I'm dating myself.
No. I tell you, I'm gonna Google her real quick because I know what she looks like.
It's a guy.
Oh, there we go.
You don't know him.
No, I don't.
Dana
I was
Carvey.
thinking of someone else.
He did the church lady. He
was I
impersonated George Bush Senior. He was
Oh.
hilarious.
He's in Wayne's World.
Yes.
Yeah, I know
Wayne's World.
Yeah, Party Time,
yeah.
excellent. Yeah.
Swing.
I know what. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking of. I interviewed Rachel Cannon recently, and she mentioned some Titan older female of the comedy world, and that's what I thought it was. It's not.
Okay. No.
What are we working on at the moment? What's the focus with the blog? What's the focus? What's kind of got your attention?
So I
at the
have
moment?
I actually hired a little intern that is just graduated from high school and is going to OBU, and she's just coming and helping me get all of my content organized. So she comes over and she did the last time she was over here, she took pictures of everything in this room and put it all on something similar on my Amazon page, on my Amazon storefront. So I could just say, oh, you're looking for this, just go shop my Amazon storefront under my game room. And then my mud room, and she's going to work through my kitchen and my dining room. And, she's just working through the house and putting it all on my storefront. So I don't spend time. When somebody asks me for a link, I physically have to go in, find something, find the link, and that takes 10 minutes.
It does. People
and
don't
then they
think it
don't
takes
buy
that long.
it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I got 3 pennies from that working for 10 minutes. It's so. I just finished up 2 commission paintings and sent those off. I'm finishing up some needlepoint. I like to do it all.
Where'd you get the flag from?
And from a little, like a cell.
There's a, and I've mentioned this multiple times on the podcast. There is a store called Timothy Alton out of the UK. They have a Japan store, New York store, one in London.
Okay.
It's fabulous. They're big on flags.
Okay.
UK and American flags, all sorts of flags, but I want one of each. I saw that. I was like, oh, that's so good.
$15.
That was
$15. You know what it was?
$15?
It's Blooming Vintage something. It's a little lady in Guthrie.
That was $15.
I know. She had it in her tag sale. She has a quarterly sale out at her property in Guthrie. Blooming Vintage. I'll have to see what it's called. Sweetest little lady.
That's the great side too of everything that you're doing with social media, is that you get to meet these people, but also you get to connect with the locals too, right? You hear all these things, and you're
Blooming Vintage. Okay.
Tracy and Pruitt.
Tracy.
Ruth Pruitt. Okay. Follow back.
Yeah.
And so it's great when it's always awesome when you connect with someone who's in North Carolina, but when you connect with someone in Guthrie, you're like, I want to come up and see you tonight. I want to come to your store, and it's such a great piece.
That's the best.
I love Guthrie too. It's so good.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a great
very
place.
unique.
I feel like we could sit here all day and just talk
I
about
know.
house stuff. I know
Are we
I
not
could do
going
that.
to? Is it already 11:15?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And I know you got things to do, and got to get the house ready for 4th of July and all the things that are happening. Last question I usually love to finish with is, from a real estate perspective, if you were to build your dream house today, what would that look like? Which might be really hard for you because of the
No,
things
my
that are
husband
around
and I
your
just talked about this last
Love when you say
yesterday.
that. Tell me about it.
Because we said this is a lot of house. Maybe we should sell it. And then I hear my boys, "Don't sell it. We want to come back to this house." But if we could build our dream house, being empty nesters, which is going to happen in 3 years, it would be 1 story, half the size of this, so around 3,000 square feet on 40 acres. That's all wooded, with a beautiful pond that we don't have to maintain a lot. No neighbors. I love my neighbors. I love my neighborhood, but I would want just out in the middle, self-sustaining, maybe some solar, maybe some, prepper-minded stuff. But that would be, yeah.
Any non-negotiables for the house interior? Meaning, you gotta have this, gotta have that.
Oh gosh, I haven't thought about that.
Chickens.
Gotta have a generator.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma, we use our generator quite a bit. I think it might have kicked on last night for a little bit. What else is a non-negotiable? That's a good question. Yeah, just for sure animals. I want some goats, some chickens.
Do you have,
Anything else?
talking of food and animals, do you have a favorite place you get your meat from?
So, we like grass-fed, grass-finished, and we've been ordering online. I do have a friend, though, that sells awesome meat. I can't remember the name of their ranch,
Where is it at?
but it's down kind of Moore area.
Okay.
You know, all our friends, because our kids go to Christian Heritage, so all of our friends are like Moore Norman.
Yeah. I asked that because I recently got Swisher Beef Co. is my go-to. I just got stuff from them out of Kingfisher,
Okay.
Dover, Kingfisher area.
Okay.
Chuck Swisher's the wife's a real estate agent. Chuck's the husband. He's
Okay.
a bullfighter and does all
Okay.
that mad stuff, chasing bulls or helping. Yeah, he's crazy. But
I'm
that's
super
theirs. I just got a couple
particular
steaks at
about.
them.
We used to get half a cow
Yeah.
and have it cut, and if it's not cut well, then that's
Yeah.
no bueno. So this guy down, it's called like 7.5 miles,
Okay.
something mile ranch. The cuts are perfect. They're not super fatty.
That's one thing I've kind of dove into as well, is that, you know, the quality of food you're buying from, you know, the meat producer, and then talk about health and also just buying half a cow and having it in your freezer. Like, it's cheaper.
Oh, we have
than, you know.
stories about that though. Twice we've gotten our half cow
Yeah.
brought it in, and our kids left the freezer open.
Oh, you're
They got
kidding.
They got a ice pop.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, and well, one time my son went and got a popsicle out and left the freezer door open. The second time, our power went out, and we were at family camp, and and it was like a murder happened
Yeah.
in our garage. Yeah, it was terrible. It was just, so I don't buy a half a cow anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't eat it, so
Yeah.
we order it comes, and it's like freezer packed with all the it's awesome.
With 2 boys out, I guess you don't get through as much as you used to as well.
and
right?
now 3 boys are about
Yeah,
out.
true,
so
yeah.
But they do meal prep, so every week they cook up all their food, and I know
Yeah.
you gotta go.
Final question. What are you most proud about with your boys?
That they all love the Lord and are following Him.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's all about eternity.
Yeah.
So that they
Awesome.
all know where they're going.
Where can people find you?
11 Gables.
Okay.
11gables.com, and then I'm at 11 Gables on Instagram, Facebook. I don't really do Twitter
Yeah.
or X.
I don't either. Awesome. Emily, thanks so much
Yeah.
for taking
Thanks
some
for
time
having
out.
me,
I know you're super
Mike.
busy, so I really
It was
appreciate it.
great.
Love your house. It's
Thank
great.
you. You're welcome
I
here
need to get
anytime.
that flag. I need to
Yeah,
get
I
one.
know.
I have
I'll
one.
look
It's just
for one
not as
for
good
you.
as that.
I'll look for one for you.
But yeah, for people listening, I'll put the links to your Instagram and your website in the description down below. You can go check that out. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next episode. Cheers.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my 2 pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my 2 golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, They do grooming and other cool things too, but I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC, and hopefully our pups will run into each other.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.